Okay, folks, Mirrorpoint turn 76. This turn, the main news is the battle in the forest of Gila. And in that battle, my massive army supported by tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of mages fought Anor Londo's somewhat less massive army supported by tons and tons and tons and tons of mages, including Big Hat Logan, the Master Sorcerer. He has invented numerous new spells. He's Astral Earth. He's honestly not that amazing a mage, but he is an inspiring researcher and an adept researcher, and he is Earth Astral, so that's pretty cool. They also have a whole bunch of clerics, and they have a whole bunch of Lord Hierophants, and they have a whole bunch of Lords Arcane, plus a lot of Silver and Black Knights in the front there, all of whom are pretty neat. Got a few Springhawks, whole bunch of crossbows and human archers, and random chaff human units. On my side, I've got a phalanx of great stags in the front, a whole bunch of great sentries, my ether warriors, of course, some green lions right in the middle. I have two hollow knights. I have Simaru, who has leveled up to level 3, to his final form. He is the ultimate hollow knight. He also has heroic toughness, so he has 39 HP. Astral 3, Death 3, Mindless, so he's immune to a lot of effects, and of course he's sacred, so if I had a bless, that would be cool. And then we have Quellin the Hollow Knight, who isn't quite there yet. I also have another Hollow Knight back here, actually. Padro the Hollow Knight. And I've got some flyers, and then a whole bunch of mages, including Yithanon the Soul Twister, who is actually regenerating from his disease since he is in there. And I've got Hopevoid the Wraith Lord, who is scripted to cast Darkness. So, we all start to advance. Crossbow bolts start flying. The flyers go out. We've got some crossbow bolts hitting us, and we've got a Natural Storm activated. Hopevoid hasn't cast anything yet. The Acid Blasts are going out. Light of the Northern Star goes down. There's the Darkness. Okay, so the Darkness is crippling the stats of everyone on the enemy side. Full darkness like this is -6 to anyone who can't see in the darkness, like my Ether Warriors. And, of course, my bugs can't see in the dark, so their stats are also crippled, but I don't care about their stats, because I'm not relying on that. I'm not relying on my troops in any way to any degree. And the most important thing here is that the darkness cripples precision. It lowers precision by 6, because of, you know, the darkness. So, do these clerics have dark vision? There we go. That guy. Yeah, see, darkness -6. So those thunder strikes and stuff they're going to be throwing at me are going to go wildly astray unless they're directly in melee range. But these guys are actually hitting mages. Some of them are ethereal, but more importantly, they're just attacking mages directly. And so these mages are taking huge, huge damage, which is exactly what I want. Meanwhile, in the front lines, we are starting to throw Enslave Mind as well as various buffs. And we've got very high-quality troops now fighting what are effectively very low-quality troops. We're starting to drop meteors, and here they come. The rocks are falling. Thunder strikes are going down, not very accurately. Of course, the meteors are falling all over the battlefield, which is sort of hilarious. We've also got a firestorm, so someone on their side just cast a firestorm. It must have been one of these Lords Arcane, who is a high-level fire mage. These Lords Arcane, boy, I tell you, I think he's been empowering some of these guys. But they're starting to drop firestorm. The Hallownest Lancers are breaking on my side, but my Mage Corps is mostly untouched, particularly because I have dropped Iron Skin on my Communion, which is a risky move, but I've comboed the Iron Skin. I've comboed. Actually, I think it's Army of... Yes, I've dropped Army of Lead, I believe, actually. No, Army of Gold, that's right. I knew he had fire magic, so I dropped Army of Gold. So I have Fire Resistance 5 plus High Prot on everyone on the field, which means his Firestorm is not going to affect me, because it's 6 armor-piercing damage, fire damage, reduced by 5. It's 1 versus 10 Prot, essentially. So the Firestorm just doesn't hurt me. My Ether Warriors are now up to Prot 29 plus Ethereal and Lucky, because I have also thrown down Will of the Fates, so it takes 4 hits to kill any of my troops. These are possibly the toughest madmen in the world. Prot 20 fire resistant and Lucky, they are just going to be cod slapping the shit out of everyone in their way, assuming they can manage to land any hits with their attack of 1. But those madmen, man, they're just doing work. Black Knights, Silver Knights, we're starting to throw in Slave Mines. It's chaos and bedlam everywhere. Meteors and thunder strikes falling in all directions. Just madness. But my spells aren't hurting my own troops because they are lucky. and ethereal and high prot and all of that stuff, so the gifts from heaven aren't necessarily killing them, and my troops just grind their way through the enemy. We've enslaved some of the knights, and now my troops are attacking the enemy as their crossbowmen rout from their own firestorm. Because my troops are pretty much immune to the firestorm, but their troops are not. And now the meteors are falling on the mage corps. So that is it for the last greatest army of Anor Londo. The power of Anor Londo is broken in the forest of Gila. Chaos, anarchy, fire, and meteors herald the end of that great nation. And Anor Londo is going AI. He's announced that in the channel, so that is going on. He lost almost everything. He still has 6 Lords Arcane. So he still has 6 fairly powerful mages, that some of which should have probably retreated to Anor Londo. Or no, I think I had Anor Londo under siege last turn. In any case, he doesn't have anything to stop this army. I enslaved a couple of Silver Knights, I enslaved one of his Lords Arcane, and I enslaved 3 Black Knights total. The Mountain Shaman scored a bunch of kills. Everything basically went according to plan. We also wiped out a lot of province defense. This is like 20 points of province defense, something pretty high there, so many units were destroyed. We only lost 62 units. We did lose some more of our Aether Warriors, unfortunately, a couple of Great Sentries before all our buffs went down. But overall, very solid. This army is now mainly moving north. We're going to take Morn. Anor Londo. The battle in Anor Londo? No, okay, so they would have had the chance for someone to retreat into Anor Londo. We took the province with very little by way of casualties. The Radiants actually scored 10 kills, some of which may have been friendly fire. We lost a lot of scouts this turn. A lot of scouts. Excuse me, all in Man's territory. So Man just fired up the patrol engines, probably in an effort to block my scouts. Like, I would anticipate that's what he's doing. Zarkomand is building a lab down there, which is fine. I've summoned some Kidnids, and I'm casting more Naiad Warriors, just to get some real tough chaff. With my buffs, tough chaff are almost impossible to stop, to be honest. Like, Kidnids with Awe 4, once I drop Will of the Fates and Army of Lead or Army of Gold on them, are going to be incredibly difficult to kill, because they will have protection up almost 30, they will have luck, they will have, just all kinds of shit on them. Now, I don't think I necessarily need the Master and Slave here, but Bugsy Siegel is going to besiege because with his very low map move, he wouldn't be able to reach another fort within 2 turns anyway, so we're going to crack this fort, and then we're going to storm it. We do have to move away because we're actually using up a lot more supplies than the province has. I hadn't properly taken into account the fact that Hallownest Lancers are size 3, and so take up 3 supplies each, which isn't usual for... I mean, they don't look size 3. I wouldn't think they're giants. So, you know, problem. So I do have a lot of diseased troops now, like a lot of diseased troops, including, unfortunately, this Lore Master. So Gabrusius is running for a fort. He's running for a fort so that we can try to get that Lore Master healed. Or just slap a Ring of Regeneration on him to keep him alive, because a Lore Master could be radically valuable. We're going to take Dragon here, and we're going to take those guys, and we're going to move north with them. Actually, let's move north in that direction. Because we're moving into the very end game. I mean, we've been moving into the end game for a long time. This is very late for a game to go. Later than I like, to be fully honest. But, in any case, I think we're going to... What we're doing is, we're setting up Bugsy Siegel to start wishing. We have Wish researched. We have hit Alteration level 9. We're actually on track to probably get close to maxing out the tree here. I would like to get down to Conjuration level 8, because I can potentially cast Well of Misery. I can cast Well of Misery by giving Alethis a Ring of Sorcery plus a Ring of Wizardry, which I can forge. That will kick him up to Death 5. He can then forge a Skullface and put it on to become Death 6. Effectively having 4 death boosters on a Death 2 chassis. He can then cast Well of Misery, and with as many Astral Pearls as I have and as many Death Gems as I have, I should be able to fairly easily dispel Lothric's Well of Misery and replace it with my own. Arcane Nexus alone makes me very competitive in terms of gem income with everybody else, with Satis, who is the highest gem income in the world. If we look at the score graphs once again for gem income, we can see his base gem income is no higher than mine, and he got Well of Misery right there, I believe. So if I take Well of Misery away, then that will drop and mine will go up, and of course I also still have the Arcane Nexus. once I have gem gens, like a lot of gem gens, I can begin wishing for Apocalypse. Wishing for Apocalypse does massive damage all across the world, and in particular, it reduces population by a lot. And by doing that, what I can effectively do is I can crush the incomes of everyone in the game, the monetary incomes, that is. So I can force everyone to transition to an entirely gem-based economy. And I can simultaneously nerf the hell out of blood magic, because blood magic relies on there being extant populations to blood hunt. So if I have Arcane Nexus and Well of Misery, and preferably also Earthblood Deepwell active, although Earthblood Deepwell will actually be trickier to get because the Ring of Sorcery won't buff it, only the Ring of Wizardry. But I can get Earth 4, I can get up to Earth 5, and then I can empower, basically. If I can do all of that, then I can essentially create a situation where whoever has the most gems has a massive advantage, and I'm the one with the most gems in that situation. I have to get there, obviously. I'm not quite the one with the most gems right now. Satis is still the one with the most gems by a little bit. But if I can get there, then I have a situation where attrition overwhelmingly favors me, where with my high astral magic powers, with my huge gem income, I'll be in a situation where I can just sort of grind the others down without too much trouble, because I'll be able to summon shit every turn all of the time to form armies. I'll be able to drop master and slave traps that the enemy can't necessarily match. I'll be able to do all this crazy shit, and the enemy won't be able to stop me because they don't have that kind of power. In particular, I'll be able to do things like time stop Master and Slave with Bugsy Seagull, or time stop Master and Slave with one mage who's formed up in a communion of the kind of communion that I did before with communion and slave matrices, followed by another mage immediately casting time stop right after him and Master enslaving. That's the kind of thing that can cut right through anti-magic, especially because time stop actually goes off before anti-magic does. So if you have a mage who through whatever combination of spells can boost himself up to about Astral 9, you can time stop Master and Slave. That goes off before any possible countermeasure. And it's just like, oh, your army belongs to me now. Too bad. A significant fraction of it at least, especially because I can put, like, I can get one of my Astral 4 mages, like Yithanon, although not a diseased one, preferably. Rune Smasher, Eye of the Void, and then he would have, so the way I would set this up, Astral 4, Rune Smasher, Eye of the Void, Crystal Coin, Starshine Skullcap, okay? Astral 6. Actually, I have to ditch something. I would have to ditch the Crystal Coin. So he's Astral 5, Crystal Matrix, 8 slaves. That pushes him up to Astral 8. Have another mage on the field with the Banner of the North Star. He's Astral 9. Now he gets to cast, he can cast Time Stop Master and Slave right off the bat. It is 400 fatigue, so his 8 slaves will take a lot of fatigue each, and then they'll get it doubled. But it won't kill them. It will only push them up to about 100. And, in particular, I have to push them up to Astral 6 in order to stop that from happening. In order to make them take only normal fatigue. So for that case, I would have to use only Astral 4 slaves, and then the Light of the Northern Star. Then I would also have to have another Communion Master cast Power of the Spheres. So having him cast Power of the Spheres would actually work, because that would transition to all the other Communion slaves, even within the time stop. That would make them Astral 6, which is his base level. So at that point, he would only be giving standard fatigue instead of double fatigue. So then they'd only be taking about 50 fatigue per cast. At that point, they could survive 2 mages in a row casting Time Stop Master and Slave, Time Stop Master and Slave, and they'd both be casting with +4 penetration. That's enough to take an army over, like lock, stock, and barrel. I mean, we've seen it done once. We've seen me do that up here, and you saw how many units I got there. And that was after, I mean, I got over 80 of his 200 some odd units, plus several mages, and that was after they turned on each other and started killing each other. So, yeah, I can do that. And it will be messy, messy, messy. I don't want to use Bugsy Seagull to do it anymore. Using Bugsy Seagull to do it is risky because Bugsy Seagull supports the Astral Nexus. And if he dies, the Astral Nexus goes poof. So I need to retire Bugsy Seagull to a life of being my wish churner outer. And I can just wish for gems, and that will give me 25 of each type of gem, and then I can either alchemize those gems into pearls or just spend them, and I'll get most of my gems back in the process of using those gems that I have wished for. So overall, my net expenditure will be a very few astral pearls in comparison to the number of gems I get. And I can then spend those gems summoning things or casting other spells. My arcane nexus will suck half of them up and give them back to me as pearls, which I can use to fuel another wish, etc, etc, etc. The cycle generates infinite gems. In particular, I can also potentially ramp up other wish casters. For example, a Soul Twister with a few boosters. If he's Astral 4, give him 2 Astral boosters, so the Starshine Skullcap Crystal Coin. That makes him Astral 6. Give him a Ring of Sorcery. He's Astral 7. Then he needs to be empowered twice, which I can afford because I have hundreds and hundreds of Astral Pearls. In fact, I should probably start that process. Do I have an Astral 4 Soul Twister sitting somewhere? I don't think so. I think all my Astral 4 Soul Twisters are deployed at the moment. But regardless, you see what I'm saying. I've reached this point where I'm about to become the world's leading gem generator. And I don't think, unless the whole world were to turn on me right now, which they should have done realistically when I cast Arcane Nexus, unless the whole world turns on me right now, I don't think I can be stopped from doing this. I think I'm going to spiral off into gem incomes of a couple hundred a turn pretty rapidly. Like, probably by the time another dozen turns have passed, I'll be churning out at least 1 wish, probably 2 wishes for gems every turn. And my Astral Nexus will be kicking in and feeding me back, like, enough Astral Pearls per turn to keep that going. And once I've done that, I can wish to kill enemy pretenders. I can do all sorts of crazy stuff. If we look at Scholar of the Bugged Code, I don't think Scholar of the Bug... I don't remember. I think I've seen Scholar of the Bugged Code. I don't believe it's an immobile. Only powerful immobiles have a chance of surviving a wish for death to kill them. Which I can do. Or I can just, as I said, I can just wish for gems. And if anyone ever dispels my Arcane Nexus, the Astral Pearl income I'm getting is so massive that I'll be able to just throw it right back up with an even more powerful Overcast. And it won't matter. So, at this point, I'm actually feeling really good about my position. Now, of course, I can still fuck this up. I've fucked up positions before. No trouble. Like, that I can absolutely fuck up positions. I'm an expert. But I think at this point I'll be able to, because now, the way I win this game now is by teleporting Doom Squads onto, with, like, gate cleavers and shit to break forts, onto thrones one by one and just smashing them. My biggest worry is actually going to be attrition among my Soul Twister core caused by disease. So I will need to empower somebody to Nature 5. Or no, to Nature... I only need to empower to Nature 3, actually. And then forge a Thistle Mace, so that I can cast the spell that cures... I can cast Cure Disease, which is... I think it's a Thaumaturgy spell? Yeah, Cure Disease, Nature 4. This cures diseases. So I can empower a couple of nature mages up once I'm wishing for nature gems, and I can have them cast Cure Disease to cure all the diseases on my Soul Twisters. I can forge armor and gear to keep my Soul Twisters safe, especially Astral Gear, because I'll have a lot of pearls. And I can use that to make them very, very hard to kill, so that I can teleport my Death Squads around and cause havoc without having to lose them. Because I lost 3 over there. Soul Twisters are a precious commodity. I don't have many compared to how many I need. Why did you stop moving? You move up there, actually. I need tons. I don't have tons. I only have some. And of those, the Astral 4 ones in particular are rare and special because they are a random. So at this point, my biggest strategic consideration is, in terms of, you know, recruitment, is I must be recruiting a Soul Twister every turn, and I should keep recruiting Great Sentries because Great Sentries make great blockers. But that's how it's going. We're gonna take this province back because it has the Labyrinth of Skulls and Lava Lake. So a little bit more gem income. I am desperately greedy for gems. After I finish off AI Anor Londo, which I don't think should take long. I'm probably going to turn on Drangleik, or possibly Man. I need to check with Drangleik and make sure I don't still have a non-aggression pact with them. I think I do, actually. So I'm going to have to end that. And yeah, and just start expanding willy-nilly. Lothric and Satis, this is going just fine. Lothric and Satis are fighting. Neither of them is really making a ton of progress. I think Lothric is a little bit better off than Satis is. But overall, I mean, Satis still has a lot more gem income. And that's what matters, and that's what's about to matter a lot more. But things like this province, I'm going to teleport a death squad onto this province within the next year here, smash it, and take it. And that has a lot of gem income. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 gems per turn on that province. 8, 5, 6 gems on that province. He has a lot of provinces that have a lot of gem income, and thrones in particular also give him a lot of gem income. And so I'm going to start taking them away. I could also be interested in making golems and using teleporting golems. I should research Construction 8 at some point to forge artifacts and forge the Horror Harmonica, and use the good old teleporting golem with the Horror Harmonica strategy, because you see, horrors don't attack golems. Golems are mindless, they don't feed horrors. So the horrors don't like to attack them. You can equip a golem with a Ring of Returning plus the Horror Harmonica, teleport him onto an enemy army, and he will spawn horrors until he takes damage, at which point he will zap out, and the horrors will continue to stay there and fight the enemy army and do a lot of damage. So that can be very, very nice. But we're reaching the point where troops are going to become basically irrelevant except for cracking forts, and honestly, once I start mass-producing gate cleavers, troops are also going to be irrelevant for cracking forts. Which reminds me, I should probably forge. Do I have any hammers going begging? Yeah, give you a hammer. I should probably forge another set of earth boosters. So let's get earth boots. And let's get a bloodstone. Okay, that's the turn. That's turn 76. The 14 ascension points required to become the new god. Everyone's very far away from it, but I think once I get rolling, I'll be able to take it pretty effectively. I am amused that my very first 2 Soul Warriors are still in the Hall of Fame. That's kind of hilarious. And then there's a lot of Daughters of Avalon that have no kills. There's a couple of them in here. That's funny. Anyway. When is the... I can never remember how to find the damn... When is the Cataclysm happening? Why can I never remember how to find that? In any case, I'll ask somebody. I'll figure out when the Cataclysm is coming. It'll be coming sometime soon. I always forget. I always forget how to find that. It's not in game settings. It should be in game settings. Hold up. Hold on. There has to be a way to find it. There has to be a way to see it. Chance of successful Dominion spread. I do need to spread my Dominion more fervently, to be honest, because it's not working out for me. My Dominion spread is pretty intense, but not compared to Satis's. Satis is pushing his Dominion. I need to build more temples, which means I need money, which actually means I am about to turn all of my fire gems into gold. Yeah, let's turn all my fire gems into gold. That's fine. I don't need fire gems right now. And, yeah. We'll hit Conjuration 8 in a few turns here, and we will start making... We'll start summoning away the elemental royalty. He's still got a Queen of the Deeps, and I think he's got another one. I think he's got the Queen of the Lakes, still off here somewhere. I don't know where they've gone, but still has her somewhere. And I'll start using globals to push other people's gem gens out of the way. Like, I'll probably at some point way overcast the Eyes of God just to smash one of... Well, overcast the Dispel first of all, and then way overcast the Eyes of God just to prevent Mother Oak from still being up, to damage Satis's gem income that way. And then we'll see what we can do. So, yeah, in any case, that's the turn. I'll figure out what turn the Cataclysm is coming. And, should be a good time the next 20 turns or so. This game is still gonna take a little bit of time to end, frankly, but we'll see how it goes. So, thanks for watching. See you in turn 77. Okay, it's turn 77. I thought I would crack Orem this turn, but I didn't quite. I think probably because I moved so many troops away in an effort to reduce my supply usage, which was fair. I did crack Morn this turn. They have the King of Banefires inside there, so I don't want to just like fucking charge in with a whole bunch of random schmucks here. I do have some Enslaved Mind going down, which will be useful, but he might Firestorm me or something. Orem has gone AI. I'm sorry, Anor Londo has gone AI. So they've got Ashen One still in here, who this force can beat. They've got the King of Banefires in here, which we can beat as soon as this force shows up, and we'll just basically just beat the crap out of him. Some Sea Trolls and Troll Guard down here, which are a little bit annoying. Up here, I've got a bunch of Kidnids and Sea Trolls, or Kydnids, I suppose is how they're pronounced. And I've got Zarkoman down here. It's occurred to me that I probably shouldn't have Zarkoman down here alone, so he's going to quietly mosey back on up here and grab those Trolls and Kydnids and bring them down to guard him, because I can't build forts down here. I would have to cast a spell to do that. And I don't think I have good access to that spell. If I recall correctly, it's a Water Nature Crosspath spell. Yeah, Living Castle, which conjures a living castle of kelp and algae underwater. And can only be cast underwater, so I have to go underwater with Monomon to do it. I would also have to boost his nature by 3, which means he would have to be carrying a Thistle Mace and wearing a Ring of Wizardry and a Ring of Sorcery. It says something about my current gem income that I can say things casually like wearing a Ring of Wizardry and a Ring of Sorcery, but the fact is that I had gained over 100 Astral Gems last turn, and I have 243 Astral Pearls right now despite casting Akashic Record 3 times, which is the 25 gem Sight Search Everything up to level 9 spell, which I'm casting on some of these provinces that I have no record of ever being sight searched for anything. And so we'll just find all the sites they got. Beyond that, so one more turn, we'll break down here. We're taking all these provinces that are around Morn, and then we're going to capture Morn itself, of course. And we're going to, well, we're doing all sorts of ridiculous things. It's amazing how many ridiculous things become practical, or possible at least, if you have just an Astral Pearl gem income that's fucking stupid. We're empowering Foin in air. We have to empower him up to air 3, and then we can use a Ring of Wizardry, which I will forge with Bugsy Seagull at some point here. A Ring of Wizardry in order to push him up to air 4 so that he can forge an air helmet, which will push him up to air 5, and once he's air 5, he can cast Gale Gate, which gives me 20 more gems every turn. My plan is to brute force deny everyone else any globals ever. Other people don't get to have gems is my basic strategy here. I'm thinking of who I'm going to deny gems first. First, probably I'm going to kick down Maelstrom and replace it with my Maelstrom or another global, just overcast to a ridiculous extent so it can never be taken down. And then I'll do the same to Well of Misery, and then Earthblood Deepwell, and then Mother Oak. And basically I'm just going to I'm going to fill every slot with gem gens of my own, plus I'll be wishing for gems. Basically, the way this is going to end up, if people don't take, like, a really, really strong and active stand at stopping me really soon, is I'm going to be making all the gems. No one else will be allowed to make any gems, except for the ones that they've found through sites. And I'll be using my gems to churn out an infinite horde of teleporting thugs and gate cleavers and things, and I will win that way by just stealing all of the thrones. So that's the goal, and so far I seem to be progressing pretty well towards it. The only real question is, can I do this before the enemy, like every other nation, turns on me, and if every other nation turns on me, can I still defeat them? The answer to that second one might be yes. Especially if I start wishing for Apocalypse and thus destroy their income and their ability to recruit troops and support mages and things. Because, as I've said, if I force this to be a gem-based game from now on, which it's already a pretty gem-based game, but if I force this to be entirely a gem-based game, I'll win. Because, pretty shortly, my gem income is going to start to be more than everyone else put together. And that, of course, is a win condition if you destroy everyone's gold income. So I will destroy everyone's gold income, I will make it impossible to recruit anything, only summon, and since I have high astral magic, I'll be able to continue summoning astral mages. In particular, I can, of course, cast Imbue Soul Warrior to generate teleporting S2 mages, which I can use not only as thugs, but also as communion mages. And communion slaves and communion masters. I can use all my astral pearls to forge boosters. Like right now over here, I am forging... I have a guy set up to forge a crystal coin, and he's just going to kind of do that on repeat. I'll be getting half the earth gems back. If necessary, I can alchemize. Alchemizing is not a problem for me. And my earth gem income is pretty high anyway. So, you know, won't be a problem. You have a hammer. I'm going to put a pair of earth boots on you so you can forge another hammer, maybe? Do I need another hammer, is my question. Not really. I don't think I really need another hammer. I have a few. We can just give that hammer to the guy who's forging the crystal. Yeah, the crystal coin. Save an earth gem that way. And, yeah, I think this is gonna go pretty well. So like I said, I'll start wishing for gems and wishing for Apocalypse fairly shortly. I'll forge some of the real high-level astral boosters so that I can ramp other mages up to cast Wish. Like Bugsy Siegel can do it, but Wish does require Astral... what is it? Astral 9, I think. Yeah, Wish requires Astral 9, so I have to boost an Astral 4 Mage 5 times in order to cast it. So he needs a Starshine Skullcap, both these slots full of boosters. That gets him up to 7. Moonvine Bracelet. What's the Moonvine Bracelet? That boosts Nature, actually. Okay, so I don't necessarily need that. I can use that to boost Nature so that I can cast the high-level Nature spells, though. There are some high-level Nature spells I was looking at casting. Which ones were they? Gift of Nature's Bounty, in particular, was the one that I was looking at. Where is that? I think it's an enchantment. Yeah, Gift of Nature's Bounty is a great global to put up, because it gives me a ton more income, and it gives me, I think, recuperation to everyone in my dominion. It costs 70 nature gems, but that shouldn't be a problem. I just need to ramp somebody up to cast it. So I'm forging a Thistle Mace. I should also forge a Moonvine Bracelet as soon as I can, which will require that I give him a Ring of Sorcery. Rings of Sorcery will be super easy for me to forge, though, because they're only Astral level 6. And so just a guy wearing a Crystal Coin and a Starshine Skullcap can forge them with no trouble whatsoever. That actually reminds me, I should actually forge some more Starshine Skullcaps while I'm thinking about that. So I'll have my S2s down here, forge a couple of Starshine Skullcaps. And, yep, should be pretty easy. And I'm going to start mass-producing Soul Warriors. Not necessarily to use as thugs, but although I will use them as thugs and raiders, but also to use as I said, communion slaves, because they are astral too. I can use them as communion slaves. I can drop Light of the Northern Star. I can drop Power of the Spheres in the communion to boost them up if necessary. And if they take damage, like, who fucking cares? Hell, I can if I really want to. If I really want to be annoying about it, I can mass produce Hollow Knights, although those require death gems, so they're a little bit more valuable. But I could mass produce Hollow Knights, give them skulls to rank them up to the first level where they're Astral 1, Death 1, and use them as communion slaves. Wouldn't that be a little bit over the top? But yeah, wow, it's stupid the kind of gems I have right now. So we're gonna take Anor Londo. We're gonna take this fort. After that, we are going to turn our attention to cornering the world gem market and try to win the game that way. So that's the turn. I'll see y'all in turn 78.